So, to answer everyone's question, why don't you just make them in America now? Move your manufacturing here. If bringing manufacturing back to the US is the goal, why are companies like Apple and Microsoft, who are most likely able to bring manufacturing back to the US, off the hook? I get that if we don't let them continue to manufacture in China and exempt them from the tariffs, that our cell phones and computers, which we all use, are going to get ridiculously expensive. I get it. But the latest manufacturing that was done in the US that we were good at was tech manufacturing. And those companies moved their manufacturing to China. They have the biggest pocketbooks. They have the most likely ability to bring that manufacturing back to the US. I'm a small business. I invented a placemat. This is my prototype. I cut and glued this together. I made a product that stops babies from dropping and throwing their toys. It's a placemat. This is the real one. Suction cups on the bottom. Comes with little toy straps that allow you to attach toys so babies can't drop them and throw them on the ground. When my son was born, I had no idea how to turn it into a real thing. I was just a mom. I had a corporate job. I made one for a friend and she forgot it one night and she's like, oh my God, it was the worst not having it. I didn't realize how useful it was until I didn't have it. You need to make that for real. And I thought, wow, how would I do that? So I found a product developer who had the expertise to help me design the product for manufacturing. And that American product developer also had a team in China to help me start manufacturing. The reason I could not start my manufacturing in the US is because I am a small business. I cannot afford to make 20,000 units. The reason US manufacturers require such high production runs is because they have to import the raw material. The raw material does not exist in the US. And so they have to import that material in volumes that are big enough to bring down the costs. They also need the company they are manufacturing for to produce large amounts, because every time you switch out the machinery in a production line, you're not making money. It's downtime. So the factories in the US that have very high labor fees, that have very high expenses, they need to make product continually to be able to pay their bills. Totally understand that. So to start my business, we started in China, where they were willing to do very small production runs for us. Because when I invented this and I invested my own money into starting this company, I didn't know if people were actually going to buy it. I didn't know if it was actually, I thought it was a good idea, but I didn't know if other parents would want to buy it. Okay, turns out they have. Cool. So now fast forward 8 years, and I have products sitting in China ready to come. In my warehouse outside, I have about 2 to 3 months of inventory. When that is gone, I have no more inventory to sell. So then I have to figure out, how am I going to pay my employees, pay my insurance, pay my lease when I don't have any revenue coming in? I have 3 months more product that's ready to ship to the US. However, it's going to cost me, what are we up to now? Let's see, we're up to $229,000 I have to come up with in 30 days just to get it across the border. On top of the cost I've already paid for that product. I own the product. But just to get it across the border, that cost, I have to increase my prices. I have to more than double my prices. I'm selling products to people with babies. They're trying to keep up with so many new expenses in their life, diapers, some getting formula, baby clothes, all the things you have to buy and carry around with you for a baby. While my products are great for baby's development and they make life so much easier as a parent, you don't need them to raise a baby. People are not going to pay double the price for my products. So I can't import them right now, but I also can't run out of money. All right. If I found a factory today that was willing to do this, that had the right equipment, that had the right raw material, who had time, because these factories are already booked. The factories in the US are working hard. They're not just sitting around waiting for new companies to come in. But let's just pretend that one is like, hey, Beth, come on, we'll do it for you right now. All right, cool, let's do it. First, we need to make molds. A mold, and I'm gonna try and put that in this video, is a steel plate that has cut out the shape of your product. And for my product, they take chunks of silicone, set it on the mold, which is heated, and then they they compress it. It's compression molding, and it's heated and it melts the silicone and smushes it into the shape of a mat. Okay? Every piece of my product line has a different mold. The mini mat has a mold, the big mat has a mold, the bottle bungee has a mold, the tethers have a mold. I would need 8 new molds made. So you take American steel, which is not cheap. It gets sent to China to be tooled, to be turned into a mold to fit the shape, because that's where the expertise lies. And then it gets sent back. You do that 2 or 3 times until it's perfect. That process takes like 6 to 8 months. And because of the cost in the US, my molds at a minimum, if I'm lucky, will be $20,000 a piece. So I need $180,000, $160,000 just for the molds. And I need 8 months to get them made. And that's before I can even start production. One production line with my mat can do about 100 mats a day. We sell more than that right now. So I need multiple production lines. I looked into starting my own factory. The cost of the equipment alone is $1 million, more than $1 million. Then I have to find somebody who has expertise. But since we don't do this type of manufacturing in the US, there aren't people here who have the expertise to run this product line. I have to pay more for insurance. I have to pay more for labor. The cost of my products will more than double. Who's gonna buy them? Nobody. So for everyone thinking it's so easy to just make it in America, like I'm all ears. I am not opposed to that in any way whatsoever. Tell me how. Tell me what I'm not seeing here. Help me figure this out. Because I'll do it. I will do it. I will make it in America if we can find a way that keeps me in business. Leave a note in the comments, okay? And I will reach out to you.